Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso at the1916company.com for purchase pricing and availability questions concerning this watch. And today, an absolute gem and a rarity. This is a white whale in red, the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Offshore, and this is the 25770ST as it was released at Basel in 1997 for the 25th anniversary of the original Royal Oak, a series of brightly colored Royal Oak offshore chronographs released. The red model you see in my hand is quite difficult to find, along with the lime and turquoise models, very rarely coming up for sale and hardly ever in this condition, as the watch in my hand has just returned from 2026 servicing at Audemars Piguet in Les Brassus. So everything is exactly as it would have been in 1997. This one actually has paperwork attesting to its original retail in 1999. So 42 millimeters in diameter in stainless steel. You can see in profile, the watch is actually a little bit thinner than you might expect it to be. It's not huge at 14.3 millimeters thick, despite being a modular complication. And then 53.4 millimeters from lug tip to lug tip, and because of the way the strap works on these original Royal Oak offshores, there are no intermediate plots, those little mini links that join a strap to the case, so lug to lug in this instance is the full distance across the wrist. Taking a quick look at the watch on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, you can see that the watch wears quite well. I've often said that these 25770s are your best bet if you want to wear a full-size 42mm Royal Oak offshore and you've got a smallish wrist. Now this would fit just fine on my wrist, and I'll zoom out a little bit more so you can see it better. I don't necessarily think you could wear it on a smaller wrist than mine, but I think this wears just fine. Big is the style. It's not supposed to look proportional, and especially with the color, this is a watch designed to pop. So it fits well, it sits well, it looks good, it doesn't appear to dwarf my arm, and I think if your wrist is 16 centimeters circumference and up, flat across the top, you're good to go. This is a model-specific strap, as you can see, color matching the dial and designed for this early Royal Oak offshore lug junction. We have the strap held to the case using screws and bars for absolute security. Then we have a little bit of bolstering or stuffing to give it volume. You can see a natural leather grain outboard. We have a monotone stitch, folded edge, calfskin on the bottom, brand new Audemars Piguet factory strap. And you can see this very early Royal Oak offshore folding clasp, a combination of polish and media blast. It's got a snap shut closure. And then you can see it has a partial rounded octagon as the clasp itself, the buckle being a segment of the famed Royal Oak bezel. And you can see this too is fixed to the case using screws and bars for security, so you don't have to worry about a spring bar failure destroying the watch. You can see that there's a little bit of finger oil on this watch, but otherwise in immaculate condition, having just come back from service. You can see how sharp those bevels are, the break between satin and polish, how intact the bezel is, and you can see that the screws are below the plane of the bezel. That's exactly how they're supposed to be. We have blue nitrile covers for the chronograph pushers, and then one in hexagonal form for the screw-down crown. The watch has 100-meter water resistance. You can see that this was an early E-series watch, and then we've got the rounded octagonal bezel itself. The shape of the crown shoulder hexagon matches the shape of the steel bolts in the bezel, and it was inspired by a vintage diving helmet back in 1972 when Gerald Genta designed the first Royal Oak, and then about 20 years later when Emmanuel Guet designed the Royal Oak offshore, he decided to keep the key elements of the Royal Oak but add size, water resistance, durability, and presence, and success on all fronts. Now, if you look carefully, you can even see that the micro beveling of the crown guards here is preserved. The metalwork, the finishing on the metal is a big part of what you pay for when you buy a Royal Oak or an offshore, and it is present and correct here. Again, some fingerprints, but fingerprints wipe off. We have a dial that is actually if you get really close, you can see that this is the petite tapisserie. It is the petite hobnail. So the mega is what you typically see on a modern Royal Oak offshore. The grand is what you find on, say, a standard 41mm Royal Oak. And then the petite tapisserie is what you find on a jumbo. And these early Royal Oak offshores had the petite. You can also see the blob-style hour indices and the baton hour hands that were a signature of these early models. Note that the sub-registers are not black. They're actually sort of a metallic slate blue that matches the color of these nitrile covers on the crowns. We'll do a quick lume shot so you can get the benefit of the luminescence. There is some. Of course, like all Royal Oak offshore chronographs of the period. It's a modular complication. You can see that the pushers are slightly above the center line of the crown, and that's why it seems like the date is buried on the dial. The chronograph module from Dubois de Praz, which is called the 2840 in this application, it sits on top of the JLC base caliber, and the base caliber has the date. That's why you're looking through a magnifier at the base. Tachymetric scale, not easy to see, but it's on this Reho outboard, and that is so you can gauge the speed of an object across a timed segment like a kilometer, useful for race cars. Now, the watch does include all the underlying functions of the JLC base movement, including hacking seconds and a quick set date, automatic winding, 38 to 40 hour power reserve, 4 Hz beat rate, 5 position adjusted. I believe these are 54 jewel movements. It is a high horology movement from JLC. Remember, back in the 1990s when this watch was made, JLC was 40% owned by Audemars Piguet, so it was sort of an in-house supply system where base calibers on the Royal Oak Offshore came from the JLC branch of the Audemars Piguet family. It's also a vertical clutch chronograph module, which means there's no jump or stagger or extraneous movement when you start up the chronograph, so that's important to note. It's a very refined operation. These are rare, and in red, even more so. And in this condition, recently returned from Les Brassus, perhaps a unique opportunity. Reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.